Hi, my name's Ryan Jacobs. I'm a GMAT instructor with Manhattan Prep, and I wanted to give you a brief overview of the homework in my course. So welcome to our Student Center here. This is what you'll see when you'll log in as a student in the course. And you can see it says right now pre-session 1. So in other words, there's some assignments to do even before you start session 1 of the course. And if I click here, you'll see some other tasks to do after session 1, after session 2, and so on and so forth through all 9 sessions of the course. So let's start at the stuff to do before session 1. Here's a little overview. There's some reading to do, which you can do if you want, but the real important thing is to do a practice exam before the course starts. If you're viewing this after session 1 of the course and you haven't done the practice exam yet, you're already behind, but that's okay. Make sure, though, to do it before session 2 of the course. And you can access that just by clicking Practice CAT Exam 1. You'll see a button that says Launch Exams, and that takes you to our CAT exam page. And you'll be able to select the section order that you want. I'll select verbal first, so we can do that. And then you would hit Start Test, but you can do it in any order that you prefer. All right, so going back to our homework here, let's say you've already had session 1 and now you're ready to do your homework here. I'm going to go to after session 1, and you can see again it pulls up an overview. And there's some general stuff, then there's some stuff specifically for quant, verbal, and then there are these things called interact lessons. Now this is pretty self-explanatory, and for the most part I just want you to follow the script. So for instance, let's click on quant. You're going to see some various tasks to do along with the time it should take you to do them. And this is reading from various books. So for instance, Foundations of GMAT Math is one book, Fractions, Decimals, and Percents is another. But the really important one, if you scroll down here, is the official guide. And so this is the stuff that I really will hold you responsible for each week. And if you're in an in-person class, any work from the official guide, I'm going to click on it and now you can see it. All of these problem numbers, I expect you to do those problems out of the official guide and hand in your scratch work to me. Okay? So do this for every class. Anything from the official guide, please do it on a separate sheet of paper and hand it in. And that includes, by the way, all the verbal stuff that's out of the official guide. You can see verbal, here's some official guide work, and there are 4 verbal problems to do. All right, so write down your answers to those on a separate sheet of scratch paper and hand that in to me at the beginning of every class. Now, online students, obviously, you won't be handing it in, but do them in spirit. So you can star tasks if you want to come back to them later. You can check off tasks as you do them, and you can see there's progress bars here. It's pretty self-explanatory, but the one change that I would like to make is instead of doing the interact lessons after session 1, actually after session 1, I'd like you to skip ahead a week and do those interact lessons instead. Okay? So in other words, let's say you've just taken 1. Most of the homework you're going to do, you're going to click after session 1 and you're going to click general, do all that stuff, click quant, do all that stuff, click verbal, do all that stuff. But when it comes time for the interact lessons, skip ahead a week and go after session 2 interact lessons and do those lessons. Now the reason for this is these are the things that we will be talking about in session 2. And these interact lessons are little video lessons on that material. So I've just found it so much more useful for students to have some idea of what is going to be taught in the class in advance. In other words, watching these interact lessons in advance and then coming to class and learning the material. Because that way we can use class time to talk about some of the more advanced stuff that you're likely to see on the test. And it just seems like a better way to learn for most people in my experience. And so I'm going to ask you guys to do those interact lessons in the advance of every class. So in other words, after session 2, you're going to do all the regular after session 2 stuff, but then you're going to click after session 3, and you're going to do those interact lessons. All right? Now, I might also, from time to time, throw out things in class that I expect you to learn during interact lessons. So for instance, I'll say next week I'd like you guys to come to class knowing what a modifier is. And so you'll have some things to watch out for in here. All right? So finally, the last thing I want to show you on this website is a system called GMAT Navigator. And you can access it with this second button down here. It says Official Guide Resources. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to go to GMAT Navigator. And it'll take just a second to load up. Now, this system is really cool because as you're working through problems from the official guide, in other words, as you're doing your homework, you can enter the problem number in here. And so let's say I'm working in OG 2017. I'm working out of that big green book. Let's say I'm doing problem solving question number, I don't know, let's just say 110. And I'm going to hit go. And so I think that the answer is B. And I'm going to show answer. So hey, I was right. It turns green because I was right. And if I were wrong, it would have turned red. And not only that, it's also giving me an explanation to that problem that is written by Manhattan Prep teachers. So you might have noticed sometimes the explanations in the book are not all that helpful, and these can be a lot better for you and for your learning. There's some other stuff here too. If I want to see how difficult that problem was, I can just click Show Difficulty. Hey, it's moderately difficult. And I can also find out the topic. So this problem is testing formulas. Now you'll notice that the entire problem is not shown in this system, so you'll still need your book. And that's because these are copyrighted by the GMAT, so we can't reproduce them. But this is still a good system for tracking your work and for finding explanations quickly. And now you don't have to flip back and forth through the answer key. All right, so hopefully that helps you out.